New reports show Britain may have a secret role in the attacks on Gaza. The evidence comes from several investigations. These reports are clear and based on verifiable data. They raise serious questions about the UK's involvement. They ask if Britain helped with targeting for airstrikes. These reports also show a pattern of secrecy and a worrying lack of oversight from Parliament. The facts presented by outlets like Declassified UK and Dropsite News point to a hidden story. This story needs to be told, and the government must be held to account. The scale of Britain's surveillance operations is staggering. Between December 2023 and March 2025, the Royal Air Force conducted more than 500 spy flights over the Gaza Strip, near the Gaza Strip. An analysis by Action on Armed Violence, AOAV, puts the specific number at 518. These were not simple observation flights. They were intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance missions, known as ISR flights. These missions are designed to gather detailed information from the air. The aircraft used for these flights are packed with advanced technology, high-definition cameras, powerful sensors, systems that can intercept communications on the ground. This activity continued under both Conservative and Labour governments, showing a consistent policy. The policy was enacted without parliamentary debate or any form of public scrutiny. When asked, the Ministry of Defence has refused to disclose what intelligence was gathered. It has also refused to say how much of that data was shared with Israel. The lack of transparency raises a fundamental concern. Was Britain helping Israel select targets in Gaza? It is, in essence, a tool for targeting. The data it collects can be used to direct strikes with precision. Reports from Declassified UK reveal Britain outsourced spy flights to a private US military contractor. Hiring an American company makes it harder to track who's responsible. It creates distance and weakens accountability.
A senior military source told The Times, "Instead of sending a message to Israel that we aren't going to do surveillance for you, we are happy to hire an American company and pay for it."
The timing of one outsourced flight is particularly alarming. Declassified reveals a spy plane owned by this US contractor circled over the Nusayrat refugee camp. That was the night before an Israeli bombing that killed over 30 Palestinians in December 2024. The proximity in time and location is too close to ignore. It suggests surveillance from that flight may have been used for target selection. This is not a proven link, but it's a deeply disturbing correlation that demands an independent investigation. Using private contractors for military ops is controversial. It blurs lines of responsibility. The government has provided no details about its contract with the US company, but British taxpayers are funding these missions. Hiding behind a private company doesn't absolve the government of its legal or moral obligations. The connections between British surveillance and the Israeli military appear to be direct. In one documented case, an RAF spy plane seems to have landed at an Israeli military base. AOAV investigation. RAF Shadow R1 identified. Nevatim Air Base, 13th of February 2024. Flight tracker shows descent towards the base, then disappearance from trackers, reappearing 2 hours later, departing the same location. 2-hour gap suggests landing, doing business on the ground. Nevatim is a key strategic Israeli Air Force facility, home to Israel's F-35 squadron, jets used extensively in strikes on Gaza. Shadow R1 is built to provide targeting information. Crew could have met Israeli counterparts to share intelligence directly. Possible actions: downloading data or receiving new instructions. The Ministry of Defence refuses to comment. Policy of secrecy. This incident links UK intelligence assets to Israel's strike capabilities. Section 5. Refueling the fire. Israeli military planes on British soil. Britain's support may not be limited to intelligence. Evidence uncovered by Dropsite News shows the UK has been used as a stopover for Israeli military aircraft. Since the Labour government took office, at least 3 Israeli Air Force planes tied to Gaza bombings have landed in the UK. They are KC-77 Riyam aerial refueling tankers. These aircraft are essentially flying gas stations. They allow fighter jets to refuel in mid-air, dramatically extending their range and increasing mission duration. The data shows 9 separate stops in Britain between September 2024 and June 2025. In 8 of the 9 cases, the planes spent between 1 hour and 3 hours on the ground in the UK. This timing is consistent with refueling operations. By allowing these tankers to refuel in Britain, the UK is enabling the logistical chain for Israel's long-range military operations. That includes the tankers that support the fighter jets used in bombing missions over Gaza. Drop site news found 2 of the same KC-707s that landed in the UK were also seen refueling Israeli fighters during bombing missions over Gaza. That's a direct link between British facilities and attacks on Gaza. A wall of silence, Parliament blocked, media quiet. When a government operates in secret, the 2 main pillars of accountability are Parliament, the press. MPs who tried to ask about UK military support for Israel have been blocked. Labour MP Kim Johnson tabled a question. She asked about Israel's use of RAF Akrotiri. It has been reported Akrotiri played an operational role for British intelligence used by the Israelis. Getting clear answers has been nearly impossible. This obstruction of parliamentary scrutiny is a serious threat to democracy. At the same time, much of the British mainstream media has failed to investigate with urgency. Outlets like Declassified UK have broken these stories, but they've received little follow-up from major newspapers or broadcasters. Declassified accused Britain's defence correspondents of refusing to report a story of clear public interest.
The BBC's Director of News Content, Richard Burgess, told Declassified, "I don't think we should overplay the UK's contribution to what's happening in Israel."
By not investigating these allegations, the media fails to inform the public. It lets a secret policy continue unchallenged, leaving citizens in the dark about potential complicity in a devastating conflict. The legal minefield. Is Britain complicit in war crimes? The secrecy surrounding Britain's surveillance flights and Britain's logistical support for Israel carries grave legal risks. If UK intelligence was shared with Israel and used to carry out attacks that violated international law, Britain could be found complicit in war crimes. This is the stark warning from legal experts, human rights groups, and a growing number of MPs. Under the UK's own policies, there are rules for sharing intelligence with foreign partners. This policy is based on a risk assessment. If there is a real risk the shared intelligence could contribute to torture, if it could contribute to unlawful killing or other serious human rights abuses, ministers are supposed to be consulted. Given the scale of destruction in Gaza and the findings of international courts, it is difficult to see how the government could conclude there was no real risk. Providing intelligence for targeting is a significant form of military assistance. It is not a passive act. If that intelligence is used to strike a hospital, a school, or a refugee camp, the provider of the intelligence may share responsibility for the outcome. The government cannot hide behind operational security to evade its legal responsibilities. The potential for a cover-up is real. The accumulation of flight data, source testimony, and expert legal opinion creates a powerful case for an independent inquiry. The path to truth. A call for disclosure and oversight. The evidence laid out in these reports demands a clear and decisive response. The pattern of secrecy, obstruction, potential complicity cannot be allowed to continue. The first and most important step is full disclosure from the government. Ministers must come to Parliament and provide honest answers to direct questions. The British public has a right to know the full extent of the UK's military and intelligence support for Israel's operations in Gaza. The secrecy must end. Parliament must reassert its authority. It must demand that ministers provide the necessary information for proper scrutiny. This should include, where possible, flight logs for the surveillance missions and the Israeli tanker landings. It should also include the publication of the contracts used to hire private American contractors for spy flights. The rules of oversight and the protocols for intelligence sharing must be made public. Select committees should launch their own inquiries into this matter, calling witnesses to testify under oath. An independent investigation is also necessary, with the power to examine all the classified information and determine whether any shared intelligence led to unlawful strikes. Only an independent body, free from government influence, can provide the credible answers that are needed to restore public trust. The government should not be allowed to investigate itself in a matter this serious. The weight of evidence and the need for answers. The evidence is clear and it is growing. Independent investigations have revealed a pattern: secret British support for Israeli military operations in Gaza. Data shows more than 500 RAF surveillance flights, a number so high it suggests a systematic campaign. Outsourced missions to private US contractors. One flight flew over a refugee camp just before a deadly strike. RAF Shadow R-1 spy plane landing at a key Israeli airbase. Israeli refueling tankers using UK territory as a logistical stop. Each piece alone would be cause for concern. Taken together, a deeply troubling picture of a government acting in the shadows. Not just foreign policy, it's the health of our democracy. Activities carried out without public knowledge. Parliamentary questions blocked. A quiet media enabling secrecy. A government not held to account. This is not partisan. Policies carried out under Conservative governments. Policies also carried out under Labour governments. If UK assistance, intelligence or logistics contributed to unlawful attacks and civilian deaths, Britain may be complicit in very serious crimes. Next steps must be clear. Full disclosure, parliamentary scrutiny, an independent investigation to establish facts and legal responsibility. The weight of evidence is too heavy to be dismissed by operational security. Did the UK aid strikes on Gaza? Did that aid lead to civilian deaths? The people of Britain and Gaza's victims deserve an answer.